President Guadiana,
Here.
Secretary Terrazas.
Here.
And myself.
Actively listen to all perspectives.
Close the loop, responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Model the professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community. Customer service orientation.
Assume positive intent.
Be positive and responsive.
Okay, that moves us to item D, Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone could please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Okay, that moves us to item number 2, Student Representatives Report. It looks like Mireya left me a very short report. I haven't heard any complaints from students besides the bathroom situation. And that concludes her report. And I think that's been addressed, right, Mr. Coy? Okay, that moves us to item 3, action items, approval of the agenda items. Any suggestions, Mr. Coy? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for a motion, entertain a motion.
I move we accept the agenda as written.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda as listed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item B. Approval of regular board meeting minutes of January 29th, 2024, special board meeting minutes of February 5th, 2024, and special board meeting minutes.
We do one at a time?
We can.
I think that's funny.
Okay.
I move that we approve the regular board meeting minutes for January 29th, 2024.
Okay, there's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
I move that we approve the special minutes, the special board meeting minutes on February 5th, 2024.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for the last special board meeting minutes.
Is that going to be for February 9th?
Yeah. That's okay.
So would you like us to table those then? She said they're not completed yet.
Okay, then definitely.
I move that we table the special board meeting minutes from February 9th, 2024.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item number 4, new business. Item A, interview qualified applicants for 2 board vacancies. Item number 1, each qualified applicant will be given 3 minutes to make an opening statement in randomized order. In this case, we're only interviewing 1 candidate today. We were able to interview the other candidate on Friday. Item number 2, each board member will ask 2 questions for answering by the qualified candidates. Item 3, each candidate will be given 3 minutes to respond to each of the board member questions. And 4, each qualified candidate will be given 3 minutes to make a closing statement. Ms. Heredia, are you ready for us? Just come on up. Yes.
Is it on? Do you have a green light? Press it.
Did I push
Press
it?
the button.
Oh, there.
Okay, are you ready, Ms. Heredia? Did you want to give an opening statement?
Mm, sure.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Emery Heredia. I'm a second grade teacher at GW Stout Elementary School in Silver City. I am a master's student. I will hopefully graduate in May with the Master's of Arts in Education with concentration in language, literacy, and culture. I have then applied to the NMSU doctoral program for curriculum and instruction, and my application is still under review. Pretty confident about getting in there, and hopefully, fingers crossed. And I've applied to the board because I was teaching in the district prior to my new position at Stout, and since leaving, I feel like my heart will always be in this place because I grew up here and I went to school here. But I feel like I need to give back to the community in a different way, and I feel like serving on the board will allow me to do so, allow me to grow as an educator and a forever student, and if given the opportunity, I'd be deeply honored.
Okay, thank you. We're just going to go ahead and get started. Mr. Guadiana, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
We are interviewing two candidates. Why should we select you to be on the Cobre School Board?
Well, I went to school in Cobre, so I feel like just being a part of this amazing community has given me one perspective, but I think as an educator and being in the field of education has also given me a different perspective. I'm also continuing to broaden my education. That's why I applied to the doctoral program at NMSU, because I feel like I'm just not quite done learning yet. And I feel like being on a board gives you a completely different perspective from being inside the classroom. I think it'll allow me to give back to my community and stand up for everything that I believe in as an educator.
Let us catch up.
Okay.
What do you see as your biggest challenge facing COVID? As the biggest challenge?
Facing what?
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing COVID?
Facing COVID?
No, COVID.
I'm all COVID? Well, I think there's definitely a teacher shortage for one. It can be so difficult to get good and qualified educators. And then sometimes when we do get teachers, it can be difficult for them to pass exams, to get licensed. And I think that there should be like some kind of programs or tutoring that help people that really want to be in education to go the right route so that they have all those skills and knowledge that they need to get their license and to be in those positions. Because I think having qualified teachers is really important. And just the lack of teachers. And I think that's in Cobre, and I think that's all around the state and all around the world too.
Okay, go ahead, Secretary Terrazas.
Okay, Mr. Heredia, how would you support a board decision that you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not?
Well, I think that just comes with being part of a team. So I think even sometimes when you don't agree, you always have to have a positive attitude and respect others' choices and decisions. So sometimes when we don't always agree, there's a way to go about that and being positive and respectful. You know, not being hateful or mean or anything like that, just respecting the decisions that are made, whether they went in your favor or not. And coming to the conclusion that when you're a part of the team, it's always in the team's best interest in all the decisions that are made to do what's best for the school, the community, whatever it may be.
There is a shortage of teachers and substitutes, as we all know, across the state and the nation. What role could the school board have in alleviating this situation?
Well, currently I'm on a project at NMSU called the Teacher Pipeline Project, and that project was designed to help fill these gaps in education. And something we found is that we have to empower people in the community to go into these positions for teaching. So I think something the board can do is just talk to, high schoolers, talk to people in the community and kind of tell them about the benefits and the impact you have as a substitute, as a teacher. Because I think sometimes young people get discouraged when they hear all these negative things about teaching, like the pay is bad, the hours are long. But there are a lot of people that I think really like teaching and care about teaching, and if they're pushed in the right direction and kind of see the beauty behind it, then they might pursue education. And then there's a lot of people in the community that I think would like to give back, as far as being a substitute and coming in and spending time with the kids. So I think just finding those people in the community and supporting the young adults and everyone in the community and just showing them, the beauty behind teaching and subbing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is, how will you interact with other board members to create a unified board and team environment?
Definitely respecting everyone's thoughts and ideas. I think that's really important when being on a team. Like I said, right now I'm on the Teacher Pipeline Project where I'm working with faculty and doctoral candidates. And being at the bottom of the pyramid, because they're all doctors or already close to getting their doctorate, I just respect their opinions so much, but they also always respect mine. We listen to what each other have to say, working together and always looking ahead to see what's the best decision overall.
Okay, thank you. I have one more. Number 6, do you feel comfortable with raising a question against the status quo?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and you did have 3 minutes if you want a closing statement. Oh. I'm sorry.
No, just cross your fingers that I get into the
Okay, so that moves us to item B, discuss and possible action to select from qualified applicants, the candidates to fill 2 board vacancies.
Use it by motion?
I think at our last special board meeting, we agreed by nomination.
Okay, that's right. We nominate one at a time, right? Or,
Yes, I think that's the way to go about it.
okay, I would nominate Ms. Harden for school board member.
Maybe for which position she's taking?
That would be for the first one, which would be the open position that was never filled after the election, which Mr. Dominguez was elected for.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of Ms. Harden filling the first vacant position signify, or you know what, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Vice President Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Congratulations. And then I'd entertain a motion for our second board vacancy.
I would nominate Ms. Heredia to fill the position vacated by Ms. Murillo.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing that, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. Vice President Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Congratulations. that does move us to item C, swearing in of new board members. So Judge Galva, are you ready? So, Ms. Harden and Ms. Delia, if you guys can come up here.
Emery? I, Emery Heredia,
I, Emily Delia,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of the
Constitution
United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of New Mexico.
of the State of New Mexico.
I will faithfully and impartially
I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of office of school board member
of office of school board member
in which I am about to enter,
in which I am about to enter,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, that moves us to item 5, our Finance Committee report. We haven't met since our last meeting, but I think we're due to meet February 20th. At 4:15. Is that a Tuesday? Yeah. Okay, that moves us to item number 6, our Audit Committee report.
The audit committee did meet on January 31st. We met to discuss the progress in submitting documentation for the 2022 audit. The 23 audit will not go forward at this time until we get that completed. We talked about how the work is going to get done and the possibility of using contractors actually using contractors to submit documentation that's outstanding for 2022 and 2023. We are not looking at any of the special audits until we catch up with the documentation that's requested or required for those audits that has been requested. And we'll meet again this second Wednesday of this month to get an update on where we are with the contractor and the submission.
Okay, so we're just waiting on a contractor, maybe like, I think we've used K-12
Yes.
accounting in the past to come in and help.
And K-12 is working with us already, so this is just a matter of expanding their scope.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guadiana. That moves us to item number 7, board members report. Mr. Guadiana, would you like to go first?
Sure. I did have the opportunity to visit the high school as well as the middle school. I have observations that I will be documenting and sharing with both principals. I also did have the opportunity to participate in a session with all the classes in the high school talking about vaping and smoking. And I think that was a very effective effort. I think it'll have an impact, and it's something probably that we should discuss here at greater length in terms of what the impact is for our decisions with restrooms and how that's being handled to get a better perspective out to the community. We did attend the winter session of the New Mexico AA briefings. Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Meeks brought forward all the requirements that we need to go forward with the sports, and Ms. Meeks also had a presentation on our academic performance, which is, I think, a further strengthening of where it is we need to focus.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Terrazas, do you have anything?
Yes, I know Mrs. Walton is the president. I had a constituent call in regards to our activity buses, that they weren't up to par. I don't know, it's like, they had to use a regular bus instead of the activity bus. I don't know. She could report on that, or Mr. Sanchez, you have anything?
And maybe just that we hadn't had enough.
Could you come to the mic so that way that if there's anybody in there?
Maybe the only thing I could, we did have quite a few trips, and maybe they had to use one of the regular buses to, I know we've been having to use Montoya Transportation for them to drive. One of their drivers goes on their route bus and takes our kids to places and back and forth, and then does his route. We did that to Lordsburg twice for our Snell Middle School. We just have had several trips, all at the same time, and so, I don't think we have as many buses or drivers as we would need. So maybe that would be the only thing I would know about. I haven't heard of any of the other, if there was any broken down or anything like that. I know one of them was giving us trouble, but that's all Coach Orlewan had shared with me.
Okay, so probably just a driver shortage.
Well, and
constituted that.
let me give you one update here, is one of the buses, it looks like the front window was shot with a BB gun. The window was kind of frozen. Driver did get in to take that bus, turned on the heater, and it shattered the entire window. So, of course, we're working on that one, and I'm not sure if that's the bus that was supposed to go on a trip where they had to trade that bus out.
Right.
So that could have been the situation as well.
That would be all of it.
Okay,
All right.
thanks. Yeah, I just, the buses need to be, 100% on the road. We know that from the previous audit from, what, a year and a half ago?
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I had the opportunity to attend the New Mexico School Board Association conference in Santa Fe with Mr. Guadiana. It was really informative. The first day at the Roundhouse, I ran into Secretary Romero, first person. I talked to him a little bit about our 4-day school week, and he said a decision has not been made yet. We just talked about partnership, and we may not see eye to eye on this, but we're gonna work together. I attended a session on PLC, which I really liked. They focus on 4 questions. I believe it was grants. The Grants School District, one of the presenters was from Grants. I also attended a NIMSIA training on wellness, and so I'd like to speak with Ms. Ramirez about having them come and show what they offer for our employees, what they don't know that they have as a part of their health insurance, medical insurance. I also got to talk to one of the school board members from Lordsburg and the superintendent. So they were excited to see some people from Cobre, and I told them we were looking forward to hosting them at the spring conference, March 26th here in Cobre. I won't be here, but I'm hoping Mr. Guadiana and Mr. Terrazas can be good hosts. And I think that's it. I think that concludes my board member report. I know both of you are brand new, so I don't know if you'd want to give any kind of report out. Okay. Thought I'd just double check.
If I may?
Sure.
I also attended that conference, and one of the things that was interesting to me was when we were given the reports of what it is we're supposed to have together and with our strategic plan, as well as how it ties to the board meetings, as well as how it ties to the finance and budget preparation. And that is that student outcomes is first, and what it is it's intended, and then pretty much everything else falls with how it is we're going to get there, including support of staff and selection of staff, and student ratios, a number of different things. But all of that ties together, which we should be putting into our agenda for monitoring the efforts to attain our goals. First, solidifying our goals, but I think we have a good idea as to what our goals are. The other part is the audit part of it. I learned that districts that are out of compliance with audit requirements may have some challenges in making capital expenditures. So we're going to work with the committees that are looking at the selection for our rebuilding the high school and possibly combining it with the middle school. And we have to get in line with getting public input on whether we're going to go for a joint or a combined school. The other part is I did also talk to Secretary Romero, and he was actually booed at the conference because he was wanting to have the 4-day school week abolished. And I spoke to him in terms of saying that, when you come up with just turning off a switch on something and expecting the change to happen right away, that doesn't really communicate a collaborative structure. And so I suggested to him that, one, as we're preparing our budget, we're looking at, and our staffing, we're looking at how we measure up to state. to the state in terms of each of our areas of proficiency. And I made the comment at that meeting that we shouldn't be relying on that to be our standard. And I suggested to him that the state come up with an expectation of performance rather than just the state number. And I suggested further to him that that expectation should be a guard or a measure for deciding whether the 4-day week is working. And so giving school districts that have a 4-day week the possibility of having 3 years to get up to meet those expectations and then continue on the 4-day work week or look at the alternative.
Okay, thank you. That moves us to item 8, our superintendent's report. Item A is updates.
So,
Oh, and Mr. Corey, at the NMSBA, they also had talked about us being more specific with agenda items, so more people could attend our meetings. So I'll talk to you about that later.
so first off, I want to welcome our new board members. I just want to say sometimes it gets really lonely down here at the end, so it's so happy to have you guys here with me. Sometimes I feel like, it's like, hey. So welcome, excited to have you guys on the team and looking forward to doing wonderful things for our students. And, I think that's exciting for us as a district and as a board, to have new members and new perspectives. So this evening, I'm actually passing here because I have a lot of smiling principals out here that are so excited to share some great dash plans with you. So I'm going to run in order here. So Central, you're going to get to go first. And I'm looking around here. I missed. Yeah. Well, doesn't matter. Who wants to go first? There you go. Bayard, you're up. And so principals, listen, you're going to do your current dash plans, 90-day dash plans, about 5 minutes, okay? Because 5 times 6 is 30. We want to get through this. No.
I'm the principal of Bayard Elementary School. I know at least one person as a teacher at Bayard Elementary School, so congratulations. Basically, we showed a lot of growth. 11 out of 15 things went up in growth. I just want to state that first of all, so that's good news. For our M-dash, it applies to, oops, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have touched it. For reading and math, we're going to do the same plan. So this is just one initial thing that I want to implement, but there will be other things implemented as well, but I'm going to focus on these. We're going to go ahead and, of course, follow the Common Core standards for reading and math. And there's a booklet that we have that we're going to go ahead and review and making sure we covered what we have covered and what we have not covered. And we're going to go ahead and also provide pacing for that, especially with math. We want to make sure we're in volume 2, not volume 1. We're going to dive deep into the data, and we're going to be looking and sharing ideas and strategies in our small group interventions. Any questions?
Mr. Olson, I had a question about the pacing guide. So are you guys following just the curriculum pacing, or are you guys coming up with the scope and sequence to align those power standards?
We are doing the power standards, and we're going to be focusing not only the power standards and the weight of it, we're also going to be doing as far as making sure we complete everything that is needed for that grade level. So that's what we're going to be focusing on this spring.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I also had a question. One is there any community participation in this?
As far as
Members?
my M-dash plan,
Yeah.
I have not discussed that with them as of yet. I have discussed all the data with them, how we were progressing each month I meet with them and talk to them about the data.
I don't know that community members, can they serve on the DASH committee?
And I
Okay.
did not know that, but yes.
And also, in the framework of the analysis, are you looking at performance and using student-teacher ratios to identify anything as far as being what's successful, what's not successful?
When we're diving deep into the data, the teachers work together, like one teacher may be strong in like, for example, geometry, and so the other teacher, they will work together to come up with strategies and ideas to improve their performance with those students.
The performance in terms of the proficiencies are still low, especially in math and reading.
Correct, as a whole state, yes, they
Yeah,
are.
yes, and so systemically, is there enough support to raise those up and to address the concerns? One is, how is the coordination with special ed? Are there interventionalists? And the reason I ask this is because whatever you come up with now is something that we can put together in a budget to bring you the resources that are necessary to bring up the grades. And along those lines, I had asked for getting the proficiencies by class, not by classroom, not just class. So at some point, I hope to get those. And that would be something that would be shared with the finance committee. So when we start looking at putting together the budget, we can address whether we have ample teachers or interventionalists and any other resources that are needed, including to special ed.
I think that's a good point, but looking at the budget, we're facing a huge deficit of ESSER dollars as well as our CLD grant. So we're gonna have to take a hard look at what we can do within our means.
But focused on student outcomes. So.
Exactly,
That's-
where we're
yeah.
gonna keep those interventionists and what we can do. So I see that, your area or cause for concern was leaving an ELA program. So now you're implementing a new curriculum. What is that curriculum?
Well, is the curriculum Savas and continue with iReady. We had Wendy DeVault come out within the last 2 weeks, and she gave us more information. So basically, I am going to be doing what I stated because I see some areas where we could grow on the 3 that I submitted, which is the Common Core standards, as well as pacing. The other one we are doing great at, which is sharing ideas and strategies. That's why we're 11 out of 15 as far as growth is concerned. But Wendy DeVault did say something that we're going to incorporate that's not on this list, which is called Try It, Discuss It, and Connect It. So taking word problems and making sure they do it independently, then they share with a partner or a group at a table, and then they're going to go ahead and connect it to another problem that they have seen or connected it to life or whatever it may be to discuss, to solidify and understand the discourse in math better.
Okay,
So there are many other things that, not just what's on this sheet, but we're going to be implementing other things as well.
okay, thank you, Mr. Olson.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, our can you hear me? Grade level and cohort proficiency summative goal statement is that K2 students will score in 62% on iStation overall in the reading EOY, and 40% of 3 to 5 students, 3rd through 5th grade students, will score on target in the end of the year IMESA assessment. Our performance challenges where we wanted to make sure that we set aside a block for 90 minutes of ELA, 90 minutes of math. Now, the conversations that we're having now is how we're going to use the 90 minutes, you know, the word bell to bell, but mainly utilizing the entire 90 minutes for ELA, the entire minutes for math. So during PLCs, we've been dissecting each part of the math curriculum that we use, and we're seeing how much time we're spending on each one, collaborating with the other teachers, the grade before, the grade after, and trying to create a plan how we can better use the curriculum fully, because on the first 90-day plan, we wanted to make sure that we were using our curriculum at 100%. Of course, we have supplementation, and then when we also have all of these other programs that we're using. So I wanted to make sure that the main chunk was the curriculum, the SAVIS, the iReady. And then from there, you know, how much time we were spending on the other programs, such as My Path for iReady, and how we could utilize it into centers. It's very important that, to me, that we're using the 90 minutes. So I said it doesn't matter, you don't have to do it all at once. You could do 60 minutes one time and then 30 minutes at another time. But as long as the 90 minutes was one of our things. And for the critical action, we said that during PLC time, we will discuss and review grade level standards and compare them with the pacing guides to ensure mastery. Once again, the pacing guide, we've been looking at when they come to the PLCs, we open up our lesson plans and we look and see where we are. We look at the books to make sure that we're pacing ourselves. And we're keeping notes as to what instruction is taking longer than other parts, so that we can kind of keep track, so that we have a pacing guide. Whoa, for next year, sorry. That's what happens when you wear glasses. All right. Another action plan is that teachers will use adaptive computer programs with students for at least 20 minutes. We don't want them on the computer all day. So then we started having discussions of how do we implement it into our centers so that it becomes part of the lesson instead of, you know, just they're always on the computer. Allowing weekly PLC time with other grade levels so that the teachers can vertically align. We do that, and then we've also been visiting each other's classrooms so that we could see different ways of teaching, ways of engagement. Engagement is a huge part of our school right now. We're doing the Ron Clark, you all know. If you ever have an opportunity, please come and visit us. We would love for you to come in and see how the kids are showing engagement. The lessons are student-led. They're standing up and answering questions in conversation form instead of asking questions or just repeating an answer to something that somebody else has already said. They're actually having discussions, and sometimes they agree and sometimes they disagree, but they have a conversation until they reach the outcome of whether the answer was correct or not. Okay. And then teachers will look at data monthly to determine the effectiveness in the previous critical action steps. I have data in my office, and we have data in the hallway, a bulletin board. But after our last principal meeting, I had the discussion with the teachers, and we decided that we would also create a data board in the IEP room so that when we PLC, we can look at the data, discuss each child individually, and think, you know, where they are. Are they far from reaching that goal, or are they near? You know, what plans can we come up with? And just kind of have a plan for each student individually. Questions?
Thank you, Ms. Ogas. I just had a question about the pacing. So I heard Mr. Olson talk about pacing, and I've seen it in a few of the dash plans. Is there a goal to do pacing district-wide? And so say a student leaves Central Elementary for whatever reason and enrolls at Bayard Elementary, are we using the same pacing vertical alignment district-wide for each grade level?
Do you want me to answer or her answer?
Either one.
Okay. So we are actually in the process of creating pacing guides throughout the district at each school. And then iReady is going to come in, and we are going to create one together before the beginning of next school year so that we're all on one.
Okay, thank you. And also thank you for addressing the low math scores.
Yes, absolutely. We're really honing in on those, absolutely.
Any other questions, comments?
No, specialists, except, you have interventionists.
We
there.
have two intervention. We have one for K2, we have one for 3-5. And,
And the subject areas?
excuse me?
Subject areas?
All ELA. We have
Oh.
no math. However, the special ed teachers are collaborating with the teachers more now. They're going into the classrooms so that we have more help within the classrooms for math as well as reading and ELA.
Thank you. I think we're restricted to the ELA interventionists because of the grants that they're
Mhm.
funded under.
Right. The interventionists are in the, so I'm using the special ed teachers then.
Yeah, but if we have need for other interventionists, then it would come out of our regular budget. I mean,
Right, but for now, those interventionists' sole focus is ELA because that's how they're
No,
paid
I
through that.
understand. It's just,
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and I also have a structured literacy interventionist that comes into the classrooms. So she's honing in more on ELA with those kids that need the additional help as well. So we have, we're really working at collaboration within grade levels and.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I know Miss Emery. I'm Laverne Martinez. I am the principal at Hurley Elementary. And I know that in our board packets, you do have our dash plan, but I did want to give you just another paper because it's a little bit hard to read through that dash plan. And then you guys get to see what I'm talking about too. So I just wanted to kind of show you what our process involves in coming up with our dash plan. We do have a leadership team that comes together to put our dash plan goals, critical actions, our progress indicators. However, it should start with your teachers. And so during PLCs, we talk about what our goals are going to be. And so for our spring dash plan, we had to look at where we scored from beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And you'll kind of see that there where we started. Our goals of our proficiency are there in black. And then what you see in blue is, did we meet that level of proficiency that we stated we were going to do at the beginning of the year? So you'll see with the reading, if you're looking at the reading side of it, we met all of our MOY goals, except for in one area in the third grade. We were hoping to reach 44% proficiency in reading, and we didn't, but we did go from 8% to 36%, and that was a 28% growth. So I'm not going to go over what kinder through fifth grade wrote there as our comments, but we discussed what was working for us, what do you think our next steps will be, and then that's how we came up with our goal. So at the top, first semester, we focused on Layer 1 core instruction. We have a new curriculum, so we really need to be sure, and we collaborated very much with our MLSS coach as well from the Deming REC, and we really wanted to do this with really good fidelity. And we made really good progress with this. We met our goals in 100% of our teacher using them with fidelity. And so semester 2, we decided we're going to continue with our Layer 1 core instruction. We're going to try to sustain what we've been doing, and then we're going to have our desired outcome as teachers will continue to use the core curriculum, and then with common formative assessments, we're going to be using the writing component from our curriculum. We have our summative test coming up in March. In that summative test, that is where our students are doing the writing. For our benchmark assessments, there is no writing component, beginning, middle, or ending. The summative, which is the one that they're asking us to look at as far as scores for the dash plan, that's the one that really counts for our third, fourth, and fifth. So we really need to start bringing up our students to be fluent in writing as much as so as reading with fluency. And the back, our math, again, our teachers listed what was working, what are our next steps. We also looked at our data from BOY to MOY. there's our goals that we had there in black, and to the right in the blue. Did we meet all our goals in math? Well, 4 out of the 6, yes. 2 of them we didn't in 3rd and 4th grade. But we're still really focusing on that. And same thing, layer 1 core instruction. We want to get stronger at using our iReady curriculum. And what we're going to continue as our desired outcome for our 2nd semester DASH plan is that all of our teachers are going to be using what's called the 3 read strategy in iReady with 100% fidelity. The reason why we're focusing on that is because the iReady program is super rigorous. And our students need to really learn how to break down problems, especially in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There are multiple step problems. And so this kind of slows it down. It really helps them to break down the problems. We've just received some PD. And so on both of them, you'll see what our critical actions are. I know I'm going to go past our 5 minutes, but we're really focusing on the feedback we're getting from iReady. Suzanne planned in our last PD with iReady. They also included the SPED teachers in a PLC, and they were over the moon excited about learning about iReady and being ready to collaborate, utilizing that information for their own PLPs and to focus on those students, because iReady's rigorous just for regular ed. For special needs kids, it's even more. So we're super excited about that and just becoming stronger and using our core curriculum. That way teachers don't veer off and try to find other supplemental things like teachers pay teachers and things like that that are not vetted in the research. Do you have any questions?
Ms. Martinez, I just wondered how the collaborative learning walks are going, or if they've happened yet.
Yes, absolutely.
And is it gonna happen, so not just within the building, but in other elementary
Yeah.
schools?
So I'm happy that you asked that, because we've started, our school has been really, we've come a long ways in our process. So at the beginning of the year in the fall, we had iReady PD, and they asked if we would do collaborative learning walks where other teachers came to watch our teachers, because majority of my teachers were all already using this whole process of iReady. So they wanted to use our teachers as a model to let other teachers observe so that they can just start jumping into understanding the process of how to teach. So then with the second one, we decided that we wanted to do collaborative learning walks within our own teachers so they could start seeing each other in action. So we had each teacher taught a lesson, and then each teacher observed 2 other teachers. And then we had feedback sessions, and we had a rubric, so they were kind of graded on the rubric. They talked about things that they noticed and their wonders, like, I wondered why you didn't have turn and talk. And so just the language that our teachers are using, but them getting to see, like, oh my gosh, I really see the vertical alignment, that you're doing this and you're doing this. And because we have a couple of new teachers, and they're like, now I see how this all fits together. So we've already had 2 collaborative learning cycle walks this year. So I'm really proud of my teachers, because they have opened the doors to many teachers in our districts from different schools, and then within each other, and just building a stronger, cohesive team. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I love one.
Yes, sorry. I like this data sheet. It's a lot easier to read.
Yes.
The progression of students in the school is kind of strange. The ones that pass, especially the highest one, the best success is in your first grade class. The other ones are kind of marginal, even though they're a little bit over, they're just like 1 or 2% over. But then you get into the 3rd and 4th class, 3rd and 4th grade class, and it drops significantly.
In the math? Is that what you're talking? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So one of the reasons for that is there is a huge jump from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. And in taking, and Ms. Begay can attest to this, from the iStation test to taking the iMESA or the NUMASA test, it's a huge jump for them. You know, we know in 3rd grade you're not learning to read anymore, you're reading to learn. And so it's a really big jump for that. And like I said, and this iReady curriculum is very, very difficult. So we're really focusing on that. And that's why we're intentionally looking at specific strategies in our iReady program, because the questions that are being asked on IMESA, iReady as well, they're just rigorous. And if students don't know how to break that down, what's important information, what is irrelevant information, they're just not even going to know where to start. So yes, we're focusing on that.
But the reading scores are,
Yeah,
very
well, you know,
high
we
and
have a lot of support. Hurley Elementary also was able to get a structured literacy interventionist this year, in addition to our interventionists that we have. We just do have a lot of support with that. Teachers are very strong at their teacher tables for literacy as well. You know, math is abstract, you know, and so a lot of it has to do with just fluency of facts. You know, there's a lot of gaps that still need to be filled with that, and so that's something we're focusing on as well.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Shay Beeble. I'm the principal at San Lorenzo Elementary. On ours for this coming semester, in math, we decided to do, much like Laverne had said, we have some gaps, and I feel like a lot of them come in knowing our math facts, and that's from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. So actually, my kindergarten teacher has been a teacher for a very long time, and she is doing math fact fluency in her class, and her kindergartners can spit out some math facts, and so much to her model is what we modeled this off of. And so in each class, they're doing fact fluency daily. They take a 1 to 2 minute fact fluency sheet test, and we keep track of how many times they pass these tests. We're also doing, from Ron Clark, they did lots of memory songs over there, and so we're implementing that as well into our, for math in the DASH plan. We want 100% of our students to improve math fact fluency as measured by the fact fluency test from kindergarten to the 5th grade. In reading, we did 100% of our students in grades 3 through 5 will make eye contact when speaking and eye contact when someone else is speaking at least 10 times weekly during instructional time as observed by a checklist. Also from Ron Clark, this is where this came from, so we decided to take kind of a different spin and go on speaking and listening standards. I've been observing this actually just this week happening in our classrooms, and it's really, I feel like if they're better speakers, they're going to be better readers, better writers. All of those are all connected, so that's our goals. Students do stand whenever they're addressing the class, much as we observed at Ron Clark. We are keeping track of this on a checklist. I wish I would have brought it for you. It's very easy. It does tally marks. We want 100% of our students will stand when they're answering questions during class discussions, and students will give and receive positive feedback during class.
Thank you, Ms. Beeble. I wondered why there was no ELA, but I didn't realize you were focusing on speaking and listening standards for 3 through 5?
Yes.
Okay. And could you share the checklist with us? I'd like to see
Yes.
that.
And I thought I stuck in one of them, but it's super easy. Like you can do actually almost a month on one page, and it's just keeping tally marks. And like I said, I was in the 4th and 5th grade classroom today, and I observed 4 students stand up to speak. And it's just making a difference. They are making eye contact with each other. The teacher has actually even rearranged her class so that it's more productive as far as the students looking at each other whenever they're presenting, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This is more of a comment for all the elementary schools. Thank you so much for addressing the math. We saw in our scores that we're lacking in there, so thank you guys for making an effort to set those goals. Thank you.
One thing that I would like to add on the math, and this isn't actually in the DASH plan, but just so that you know that it's kind of an idea that we were kind of floating around actually today during our staff meeting, is as an incentive for students that are making progress in fluency, we would like to challenge some of our elementary schools You know, something like even maybe towards April and they can come. We thought even the speaking and listening piece, the community could be involved. Y'all could maybe come and be some of our judges, see how fast we can go. Anyway, know that a challenge is coming.
I also wondered, Ms. People, if you guys have ever considered content-based learning out at San Lorenzo. So a teacher take a content focus area rather than a grade level.
Well, we have discussed this. I did bring it to the staff. I did get a little bit of pushback
Okay.
from them. Mr. Corey and I actually talked about this at length at Ron Clark.
I just
We'll
wondered,
have-
you guys
know,
would,
they had some concerns as far as, well, one of the teachers, and just to be blunt, she's like, I like to control my class. And so, and I get that, especially as a younger grade teacher, I understand like wanting control of your group. We have a lot of the same goals, I guess, across the board, but you know, you still kind of like to hang on to your babies a little bit. So I
Okay.
did get a little bit of pushback on that, but we're open to lots of new things at San Lorenzo.
okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Begay. I'm the principal at Snell Middle School. And so, as you can see, my desired outcomes were focused areas on layer 1, instruction for ELA and math, and as well as data-driven instruction in both those sections. And so when I did this, I collaborated with my leadership team. We do have Success Maker, IXL, different practices such as Ron Clark practices like positive reinforcement, incentives. We are also doing reading apprenticeship. Our scores did go down a little bit in respect to reading from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year as well. We did have some growth in language data, as well as in math, 8th grade, but we did have some decreases, small decreases in math in 6th and 7th grade. So our goals, as you could see, were more to be collaboration amongst all our teachers, not just regular ed, but including our special education in terms of PLCs and identifying students that need that extra push. And that's something that has not been implemented in the past in terms of the SAT process or the MLSS in terms of layers and identifying those kids early on. So I was told I only have 2 minutes, so that's all you're getting for tonight. If you have questions, please either email them to me and I'll respond. No, not really. Any questions?
So I guess for the scope and sequence, are you gonna work with the elementaries on that alignment as well?
Currently, we're working with the high school. To be honest, we haven't worked with the elementary. We are working and going to start working with the learning walks at the high school, but we have not done it at the elementary. So if I foresee, I mean, because we're doing a lot at Snell right now in terms of just transitions. We are doing co-teaching with our SPED department, our SPED teachers as well as our regular ed teachers, so I see that down the road. Quite frankly, right now, I would like to do it in the fall, so the answer would be no, but I envision us working with the elementaries as our 5th graders are coming up.
Okay. And your guys' math curriculum is Carnegie, is that correct?
It's Carnegie and the IXL.
Okay.
So that's the platform for they're on it at the beginning, and he's the math expert, I'm the ELA. Okay.
So what we do need is, for our adoption years, that we use iReady in the, as far as in the elementaries, and then we go to Carnegie. So they're two different completely kind of, I know it's not the curriculum, it's not the book, it's the teacher, but it does when we can make that vertical alignment, it's gonna set up our kids a lot more for success if we can have the same type of curriculum, not
No.
only in ELA, but in math.
No, I agree. That's what I was gonna ask, if we, in our next adoption cycle, could do that.
Savvis would be great.
I ready across the board.
I-ready does not go past 8th grade. And that's the reason why we went with primary because they were
I do think the teachers need to be a part of that discussion with the adoption, and I know they were, but we weren't the principals at that time, but if we got more input in terms of like what works, what doesn't work. I know cost is a factor, but also, you know, the ones in the front end are the teachers, and of course the students as well. What's user-friendly? Cost is always a factor, but also like, you know, in terms of time and what's the most cost-effective for the best outcomes.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns?
No,
Comments?
except I kind of see that in terms of student success is a great importance that rivals cost effectiveness, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should have worn shorter shoes tonight.
Me too.
All right. Excuse me. So I printed out for you guys, it's the implementation report from the DASH plan, and it just includes, excuse me, semester 2. At the high school level, we have to write our goal in with the focus on graduation. And we'll tell you, we veered a little bit. This is my first time using DASH at this level, and the platform's difficult, to say the least. It's quite the platform. But last semester, when we were told write this goal with focus on graduation, we wrote it for seniors only. Seniors are graduating. And then this semester, we were like, wait a minute, we should write this graduation goal focused on everybody, because everybody has to graduate, right? And so we wrote it in. By the end of the third quarter, March 7th, 85% of all students will be on track for course completion. And then the document that you have has some progress indicator dates, and I've got some documents to describe what we're doing for each of those indicators. So as of February 2nd, 2024, we were wanting to see participation in student-led conferences, all students and advisory teachers held accountable for 100% student participation. So I'm going to hand you guys a document. I'll pass it down, I'll explain this. So we had parent-teacher conference night. At Cobre High School, we do student-led conferences. Students develop a packet where they put together their own data, and then they're supposed to present it to their adults that come to their conference. I'm not sure y'all are aware, but adult participation with their students at the high school level, at the secondary level, decreases significantly, so we don't see a lot coming. I think doing the student-led conferences did bring in a few more, but we still didn't get every parent or every student. In fact, it's the minority that do come. And so that document just shows you every day during advisory, we have an advisory teacher bring all of their students that didn't present to an adult, and they get to present to an adult on campus. I participated today. We had seniors come in and present today, so they were presenting their transcript, something that they hadn't seen before. They're presenting their beginning of the year and middle of the year data, which was pretty cool because when they see their data and they're taking ownership of their data, we're hoping that has a big impact on how much they try. Not that they didn't try, but we're hoping that they will put in more effort into their end of the year data.
So that beginning of the year to middle of the year, that's gotta be an eye-opener.
It's, yes, I actually had one, I thought it was fate, I was gonna bring in a really eye-opening example of one. I showed Mr. Corey when he was on campus, the student was in the green for their beginning of the year data, and then they were at the bottom of the red for their middle of the year data. How does that happen? He sat there and went click, 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 click. The copy machine jammed, and then the copies didn't come out in color, and then I blacked out his name because I didn't want it, we didn't need to share the name, and it still came up with his name, and I thought that's just, I'm not meant to bring you this data, but if you'd ever like to see it, come and see me and I'll show you the data. I will say, because I've sat in these student-led conferences today, that's not across the board. There were some small, every student that I met with today in their conference, every student that presented, not every, but a few showed that they went down a little bit, but they were like, wow.
So did they set goals for themselves, seeing that data? Do they say, well, this is an area of focus I want to focus on, and talk to that adult, that teacher, and say, how can you help me attain this goal?
part of their packet, the student-led packet, is goal setting. I don't know that we left it up to the advisory teacher this year which forms to use with their students, and some did, like, used all the forms, some didn't. Next year, we'll have a standard set of forms that they will use, and we will include that. So to answer direct, I don't know that the students' goals were necessarily based on their beginning of the year, middle of the year data. Their goals could have been set on transcript. They're like any of the data points.
Okay. And then as far as the data folders, so they stay with the student, is that, I know you're new this year, but do they come in 9th grade and that folder stays with them through 12th grade?
So their advisory teachers have them, and our goal would be for their advisory teacher to be their advisory teacher for the duration of their high school experience.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Hours that seniors attend classes,
Yes, sir.
is that showing to be a detriment for their accomplishments in school?
I don't have a good answer for that. I spoke with seniors today. They've got good grades. They've met their requirements. I don't think the requirements are different, and we expect them to be on campus a little bit more next year. I do think that their hours not on campus are a detriment to campus programs. Band, the CTE programs, I think that I'd like to keep them there. If any of them are listening to this, they're probably booing me right now, but I'd like to keep them there all day.
I would like that.
Mhm.
I think that would stand to help as well. Also, the innovations program, if you could give us kind of an update on how that is and
Sure.
if the student participation in that.
Sure. We have quite a few students working on campus. We have a handful of them who do custodial work. Most of the ones that are doing custodial work, I could talk to you guys about that. We have some that do custodial work. We have photographers. Mr. Corey met with a few of our photographers the other night at one of our district basketball games. They were in there taking pictures. I moved one of the girls into the media program first period so she could start modifying the pictures and getting them posted onto the website. We have students in the wood shop. I was in the wood shop last week observing a project that they're doing for the Innovation Zones grant. They were doing amazing work. Mr. Garcia had it very well organized with each one of them doing their task. Those were all seniors, and they were still on campus at that time. It was like 5th period, so 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had 5 or 6 seniors in that classroom all doing their job, creating these products. It was pretty awesome to see that. We have a few students that work in the community at some of the schools. They speak to me about it. They love their work that they do at the schools. So the only way we can go with that program is up. I think we're learning a lot through it this year, and we've got a lot of plans for continuing to develop it in future years. It's really exciting. So I still have more documents for you, but go ahead and ask, and then I'll hand you the rest of my stuff.
I just wondered, so the focus had to be graduation, is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is that per?
One of our goals has to be in relation to graduation. I don't know, so we wrote this goal. I was listening to the others. We have a goal for math and reading too. I don't know why it didn't come up on this document. I think we kept the same goal because we didn't see the 5% growth that we wanted to last semester, and so rolled that one over. I don't know why the implementation plan just printed this goal.
Can you share that with us whenever you get a chance?
Oh, sure.
Okay, thank you.
The rest of the plan. So I was going to go over a few of the other documents, and so to continue, so layer 1 core instruction, I think our focus was that for this indicator, or evidence of progress. Teachers are participating in bi-monthly PLC or PD. I'd like more PD time with my teachers. Here's our calendar, school calendar. Take one, pass it down. Y'all are welcome to join us anytime for those PLC or PD dates. They're listed there. I'd suggest coming in the afternoon because our PLC groups in the morning are like 1 teacher each. It's not a very good PLC group. They get me and Leslie Arnold. We're pretty good conversationalists, and we're good at looking at data. So, but you're welcome to come anytime to those, which you can see we do have them on the calendar.
I wonder if that can be switched for, I don't know, maybe like department PLC? Because I as a teacher, I don't know, Ms. Heredia can speak to this, but having another colleague to collaborate and give ideas to within my same grade level, in your case, content area.
For the most part, they are departmentalized. For the most part, we just have a few islands. So 2nd period, I have our art teacher. 3rd period, I have our metal shop teacher. but then for the rest, they're with their peers. All right, our next says content walkthrough data from instructional leader data tracking tools. So every week I provide myself, Mr. Sanchez, Leslie Arnold, if we're going into classrooms, we have a Google form where we track data. Here's a Google form. This is looking at engagement. And so based on that data, we know where to place our teachers on, which is the next goal, coaching cycle progress. Based on that data, in a perfect world, we would have lots of time to talk about it, which we don't have a lot of time to talk about it. We'd like more time to talk about it, but we have had conversations about where our teachers fit on a coaching cycle continuum. I'm going to give you that right now, and we do have our teachers organized into these categories. And those categories, basically, the guidance that we have based on those categories tells you how much support teachers need and what areas of support teachers need. And so we do, I didn't want to share it with you either. I can one-on-one, but I didn't want to like hand it over to you guys. But we do have our teachers organized based on that.
I think there's a differentiating coaching approach that I've seen in Roswell, Clovis area. And if I can get it for you, it's similar to this, but it's more in depth.
I'd love to see it. We actually just got a book too. Haven't had time to look at it yet, but we have a book on better conversations with teachers, how to have better conversations with them. My IS is devouring it right now. So.
Anyone else have anything? Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So thank you, principals, for coming and sharing with us this evening. The DASH plan, being there and have done it, it is a very difficult process. I think it's got a little bit easier, but it's just the platform alone, trying to navigate it is unbelievably hard. So kudos to you guys for, digging through that. We work with our REC on this, and they've complimented us on, as a district, our progress and how well we're doing. So I want to compliment your guys' hard work, because I know it is not easy digging through that to find how to do it, where to click it, where to go. It's not user friendly. So
Yes, thank you, and then thank you to collaborating with teachers in your building and looking at the best interest of our students. Thank you.
So really quick, in your packets, we have some fundraisers for your review, just so you see those. But the bigger one I want to point out this evening is the donations. A huge shout out to Western Bank. Western Bank is amazing. They've done amazing things for our district. And we do have some of those recipients here this evening. So I know San Lorenzo received a grant from Western Bank. And if I remember correctly, basketball goals. So new basketball goals for the students. If you've ever been out to the playground there, the goals have been there for a very, very long time. So really cool that they support us in these things. Also, at Bayard, I know PE teacher Ms. Shea wrote a grant and $2,500 for a nature garden. And then this is my big shout out for them. I did not apply for anything. And they called me and they said, hey, Mr. Corey, we'd like you to come over. And they just wrote a check for $2,500 and said, we really appreciate you and thank you. And I was like, I didn't do anything. But that's how awesome the bank is and the support in the community. I was shocked when they called me. I will say that the bank had a very key role in the school that I was principal at surviving through COVID, because we weren't able to do our fundraising that we're usually doing, and they were super supportive of us. So I can't thank these kinds of community partners enough, and how they're supporting us in education and what they're doing for us. So tonight's big shout out to Western Bank. Also, other donations that we received, we got one from the NMAA for $1,000 for our esports program. And so kudos, new program, and if you get to watch the kids playing, it is on a whole nother level. They, what they do on those games is amazing. So new program to our high school, And we're, you know, as a district, we're doing everything we can to support them and get this program up and running. And it's been exciting watching these kids because we know so many of our kids are very interested in this program. So it's been exciting watching this grow, and then it's great seeing the support. So donations, and other than that, that is all I have this evening.
Mr. Corey, I had a question on one of the fundraisers.
Okay?
For PE equipment, for Bayard Elementary, for Miss Shea, is that something we can't, pay for out of, budget for her supplies?
So I think, again, one of the things I always talk to you guys about, the hardest thing is changing mindsets. And, you know, I can speak for, you know, the teachers that have worked for me have understood that if you need something, it's our job to get it for you. That hasn't always been how this district's operated in the past. So it takes a while sometimes for them to understand if you need something to be successful in your classroom, all you have to do is ask for it. You know, I feel that that's on us to figure out how we're gonna get that. But I think teachers are used to doing this, and I don't mind supporting them if they would like to fundraise. I don't have a problem with that, but I know exactly what you're saying, and we would gladly support any of our programs and what they need to be successful.
Okay.
I think that we need to really ask her, because this is her Stacking Cups fundraiser. So, she just submitted hers at Curly Elementary, and I know you asked about this last year as well. So, because I just told my secretary, like, we could totally buy these things for her. But I don't know if it's the whole, you remember when we did the Stacking Cups
Right, and-
fundraiser? So I don't know if it's something part of her curriculum, and then it happens to raise money, and then she uses it for this. So I think we just need to talk to her a little bit more about it, because I remember you asking about that last year, and so she wasn't at my school today. So I'll try to talk to her tomorrow and see what it is that, if she's okay with us purchasing, or if there's another reason why.
Okay, thank you. Please feel free to leave if you need to leave. No pressure to stay, go spend time with your families. Don't. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item number 9, public input. Anything online? No? Okay. Seeing none here. That moves us to item 10. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purposes. Item 1, pending litigation as permitted under section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and legal counsel can advise regarding item A, Annette Acosta versus Cobre Consolidated School Board of Education, ETAL, case D-608-CV 2024-00026. Item B, Cecilia Varela versus Cobre Consolidated School Board of Education, ETAL, case D-608-CV 2024-00028. Item C, Melissa Minus versus Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2024-00029. And item D, Deanna Davis versus the Cobre Consolidated School Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2024-00031. Item 2, discussion of student issues, including personally identifiable information about an individual student under section 10-15-1H4. And item 3, so that the superintendent can update and discuss limited personnel matters as permitted under section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically the hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, assignment, or resignation of, or the investigation of employees of the superintendent. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we convene in closed session.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call vote. Vice President Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas.
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
And Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
And myself, yes. We are in closed session at 6:25 PM. broke something. Sorry, I'm trying to look for my car keys. It's okay. Mr. Garcia built it, right?
it up on top so you see it.
Okay, item number 11, reconvene in open session at the conclusion of the executive session. For statement affirming that no action was taken in executive session and that discussions were limited to threatened litigation, limited personnel matters, and student information. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call vote to come back in. Vice President Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas.
Yes.
Ms. Harden,
Yes.
Ms. Heredia.
Yes.
Okay, we are back in open session at 8:02 PM. That moves us to item number 12, adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll move for adjournment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 8:03. Thank you.